Hello, welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at this RC555LB from JVC. It hails from the early 1980s, so it's actually over 40 years old now, would you believe? Now, quite a simple unit really in essence. We've got a 4-band radio, so we've got FM, shortwave, longwave and medium wave. And we've also got a fairly innocuous but relatively reliable tape mechanism there. It hasn't got any auto music searches or anything like that, so it's a straightforward mechanical mechanism on this. But you've also got a 5-pin DIN in as well, should you want to integrate the unit with any other appliances at the time. You've also got front mounted stereo microphones as well, condenser mics just on the side. So in terms of the LEDs there, you've got a battery indicator, your record LED, you've got a tuning strength LED on and off, and you've also got an FM stereo LED indicator as well. In terms of EQ, you've got a single sweep tone potentiometer from low to high. You've also got a balance left and right just there, and indeed a master volume control. So that's it for that unit. You've also got a tape counter, I'll just mention that as well, just at the bottom there, which was relatively common back in the day, but not always included. So always nice to have. So anyway, this particular one is a pretty much mint example, or certainly not far off. It's from my personal collection, but I've got another one to do today which needs a new belt. So I thought we'll just do a quick video today. If you do have a 555 that you're looking to change the belt, or you're just interested to see what's inside, I thought we'll move mine to one side, bring the other one in, and today we'll crack this one open, put a new belt on and see what it's all about. Let's get going. So here we are then on the rear casing of the RC555, and we'll remove the battery cover first to give us access to 2 different screws. There are 7 in total on the rear case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So we'll just go and remove all of those now. Nice and easy to remove, and all 7 screws are the same, so there's no worry about mixing them up. So there we go, this is 7 screws, all the same, in a nice little pot for safekeeping. So that's the first stage done. Now the next thing we want to do is actually turn the unit over so the front is facing us, and we'll press the eject button as well, opens the cassette door, and then we very gently lift the front cover away, and you'll see now that it's bound by several multi-plugs here. First thing we'll do is just take the earth off the speaker just there. That's just soldered onto the casing for one of the IF stages on the radio board. Then we've got the condenser mic just down inside the corner here. Condenser mic multi-plug. And then from the board itself, we then remove the multi-plug for the speakers. And as simple as that, there indeed is the removed front cover. Next thing we need to do is, whilst we can see the actual mechanism here, we can change the counter belt easy enough, but then we can also start to access the main screws to remove the mechanism if we need to. And to do that, we remove the 2 screws that are on, there's one on either end of the tuner gauge just there, and they will come out relatively easily. And those are blue screws that are identical to themselves, or to each other I should say. Put those safe, and then just watch out for the tuner needle, but basically just withdraw the actual unit. Now you can put it to one side, but there is a multi-plug just here for the LEDs, because remember we've got the LED displays just on the front cover there, so here's the multi-plug that feeds those. And in fact there are the LEDs on the back of the board. Whether or not it will focus, I don't know, but you get the gist. Right, there we go. So we'll put that safely to one side as well. And straight away we can see just how easy it is to remove the mech, and I'll just bring you in for a slightly closer look. So we've got a screw down by the motor, we've got another one just here on the other side, and I think that's actually it. So we'll remove those two screws. In fact, those two are the same as the two that came out from the tuner cord as well, the tuner gauge. So there we go. Now at this juncture you can also withdraw the multi-plug just here, and that's for the motor and indeed the leaf switch. And then with that we can gently overturn the mechanism, and then we've got access to the main belt. We can also see here that we've got access to the pulley for the counter belt as well. So if we wanted to, we can literally just withdraw that way, and then the counter belt is away like so. Well, that's the first one. And then to remove the main belt itself, we've got one single flat belt, and you can see on this one it's a bit slippy. It's not biting terribly well, so we could do with a slightly tighter one on there. And I've got one here ready to go on. But first things first, all we need to do is get this one off. Relatively easy. The first thing we need to do is just perhaps get rid of this little locking bit of compound here. Once we unscrew this particular little screw just down here, it'll take a bit more play, and we'll be able to actually slip the belt underneath. Sometimes we can get away with it anyway, but on this particular one we just need to give it a bit of clearance. So we'll unscrew this little screw just here. That'll remove or at least release the keeper plate just enough for us to be able to slip the belt underneath. And that screw is spring loaded, so don't have to do it all the way, and you can see just as easily as that we've got enough clearance to be able to withdraw the belt, and there it is. So with that, the belts are undone. We can refit the new ones in exactly the reversal of the procedure. This is also a good opportunity if you wanted to actually just inspect everything, clean up any dried grease, re-lubricate the mechanism, clean the pulleys if you want to, just generally lubricate and check the mechanism, check the motor mounts, all that kind of stuff. And indeed, whilst you're in here as well, you can also clean the heads really easily, the capstan, the pinch roller, the idler tyre, all that kind of stuff, clean inside the counter and what have you. So you can go ahead and do all that now. Also clean the switches. So see my other videos. If you haven't done this before, or you don't know how to do that, check out my other Boombox videos. I've got loads of stuff where I clean all the switches, the arrays switch and the different power switches, radio band selector switch, all that kind of stuff. But yep, for now I'm just going to go and whiz through this and do all of that, and then I'll be back, just put the belts on, and we'll get everything back in the reversal of how we took it off. So assuming you've done all the cleaning and maintenance on the deck, we can now actually just refit belts by feeding the counter belt through the slots under the counter, which might sound obvious, but there you go. You place that on the pulley on the spindle, then we can bring that through and hook it over the top like so, and just check that the counter's turning correctly, which you can just see that in the corner of the frame just there, and that's turning nicely. So then we'll refit a belt, so we'll get a new belt, and all we want to do is slide that under the gap, over the motor pulley, through the intermediate pulley, and over the top of the flywheel like so. Just check it's not twisted or anything like that. Just run that up a little bit. Good. And then we'll just tighten down the keeper. Not all the way, don't over tighten it. You need to be a little bit of play in there. Just enough to let it rock a tiny bit and let it move unhindered. Perfect. Good stuff. So there we go, and that is that. If you wanted to change the motor speed at any stage, by the way, you can do that via the little adjustment screw on the motor just there. You may just see that one, and you can turn that just to tweak it and get the perfect speed if you wanted to. Right, so to put it back together, essentially you need to put the multi-plug back on for the motor and the leaf switch. Get the screws for the mechanism back into place. Then we can get the tuner plate back on. And so to do that again, just carefully slide that underneath. There we go, like so, into the right place. And then we refit the two screws just to hold the tuner gauge back on. Loosely at first. Just so that we know it's lined up squarely in the holes. There we go, like so. And then plug our LED light back in, of course. So there's the multi-plug just going back on here. Good, so the mech's back in, we've got the two screws in there. We've also plugged the motor switch cables and things back in. We've got the tuner gauge back in and hooked up the LEDs. All that remains is to get the faceplate back on. And so remember, for the faceplate, we've essentially got the speaker connections to attach in the multi-plug. We've got the condenser mic multi-plug to attach in the bottom corner. And we have the earth to the speaker terminal just here. And then just gently watching the wires don't get trapped, we just drop that back onto there, nice and square, close the lid, turn it over and button it up with the 7 screws. And then of course replace your battery cover and you're done. So there it is then, the JVC RC555LB, over 40 years old, but some of these units are still going strong, and if they've been nicely maintained you can still find some in some really nice condition as well. So this one's just had 2 new belts on it, and they were very easy to do. Literally the 7 screws off the back case, 2 screws for the tuner gauge, 2 screws for the mech, and a couple of multi-plugs, and away you go. So we've done the counter belt, we've done the main belt, and that's as simple as that. So it doesn't really get any easier, to be honest. There's no soldering to do, it's not too complicated, no circuit boards to remove, one of the easier ones to work on, I'd say, and a nice looking unit at that. So there we go then, I'm going to go and give this one a polish and clean it all up. But in the meantime, thank you very much indeed for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it a bit useful. Please consider subscribing if you don't already. Also, if you did find this particularly useful, if you've got one of these, then please follow the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. That'd be really great. Thank you for your support. In the meantime, guys, stay safe and I'll see you soon. All the best for now. Bye-bye.